The hallway smelled of old paint and someone else's dinner. Edward walked down the stairs instead of taking the elevator, each step grounding him, reminding him that movement, any movement, was still possible. Outside, Brooklyn wrapped around him like a familiar ache. Neon signs buzzed. A couple argued softly near a bodega. Somewhere, music leaked from an open window, bass-heavy and alive. The city didn't care about betrayal. It never had. That was its mercy. Edward stopped under a street lamp and finally exhaled. For the first time in months, his phone was quiet. 3 weeks later, the article dropped. It didn't scream. It didn't posture. It didn't name Lisa. It simply laid out the facts. Shell companies, political donations disguised as consulting fees, an editor who buried stories and wore integrity like a costume, screenshots, audio, timelines so clean they felt surgical. The piece went viral by morning. By noon, Mark was suspended. By evening, he was indicted. Edward watched the news from a diner in Queens, coffee going cold in his hands. The anchor used phrases like stunning revelations and a betrayal at the heart of journalism. Edward snorted softly. If only they knew how small it had felt. How intimate. "You famous now?" the waitress asked, refilling his cup. He shook his head. "Just honest." She smiled like she didn't believe him. Honesty's dangerous. "So I've heard." Lisa didn't call. Not that day. Not the next. Edward told himself he didn't care, and for the most part it was true. But some nights, lying on a borrowed couch in a sublet that smelled like someone else's life, he replayed small moments. The way she used to tuck her feet under his thigh on the couch. The way she said his name when she was tired. Grief, he learned, wasn't loud either. It was persistent. 2 months later, a padded envelope arrived at the magazine. No return address. Inside, a flash drive and a single photograph. The image showed a warehouse in New Jersey. Rusted doors. A familiar silhouette stepping into shadow. Mark. Edward's stomach tightened. He plugged in the drive. More files. New ones. Offshore accounts that hadn't been mentioned in the article. Names he didn't recognize. Amounts that made his skin prickle. And a folder labeled simply L. Edward stared at it for a long time before opening it. Inside were photographs Lisa had taken. Angles, compositions only she would choose. Meetings. Handshakes. A man slipping an envelope under a table. Mark again. Always Mark. At the bottom of the folder, a text file. "You were right. I was afraid. I'm not anymore. L." Edward leaned back, heart pounding. She hadn't just been complicit. She had kept digging. The call came that night. Unknown number. He answered anyway. "Edward," Lisa said. Her voice was thinner. Steadier. "You sent me evidence," he said. "I sent you the truth," she replied. "There's a difference." "Why now?" A pause. Traffic hissed on her end of the line. "Because they're not done," she said. "And neither am I." Edward closed his eyes. "Where are you?" "Somewhere warm," she said, a ghost of irony in her voice. "Somewhere I can see what's coming." "You know they'll come for you." "They already did," Lisa said. "That's why I'm calling." Silence stretched again, familiar and heavy. "But different now. What do you want from me?" Edward asked. "I want you to publish," she said. "All of it. And us." Another pause. "There is no us," Lisa said gently. "There's only what we choose to do next." Edward looked out his window at the city, restless, relentless, alive. "I won't protect you," he said. "I know," she replied. "That's why I trust you." The line went dead. Edward didn't sleep. By dawn, he was writing, not as a man scorned, not as a survivor, but as a witness. When the second article hit, it burned hotter than the first. Names fell. Companies scrambled. Politicians denied everything with the same tired words. And buried deep in the piece, credited quietly, unmistakably, photographs by L. Months later, on a cold morning that smelled like snow and diesel, Edward passed a gallery in Soho. In the window, a photograph of a woman's reflection in cracked glass. Strong, fragmented, Unafraid, the placard read, "Exhibit warm rooms, poisoned air." Edward stood there longer than he meant to. Some stories didn't end clean. Some betrayals didn't just sharpen you. They taught you where to aim. And in the low, steady glow of truth, that was enough.